Hello, my name is Dante Rooker, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of Middle Tennessee News as we mark the 100th year anniversary of broadcast with a little Tennessee twist.
And I'm Cheyenne Avila. In the next half hour, we'll explore the roots of radio in Music City and sit down with some of Tennessee's broadcasting icons.
And I'm Kristen Allen. We're going to look at the present and future of broadcast, but first, we're going to take you back to where it all started.
Is there anyone on the air?
Voice radio was at first a novelty, mainly for hobbyists and engineers. Amateur broadcasters had been transmitting since 1906. Reginald Fessenden's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve wireless voice and music transmissions to mainly ships at sea were technically the first. But after World War I, companies started making radios for home use and the general public. Radio manufacturing company Westinghouse wanted to offer regular programming so they could sell more radios. A Pittsburgh area ham operator, Dr. Frank Conrad, had been playing music over the air for friends just for fun. Westinghouse asked Conrad to set up a regular transmitting station. On November 2nd, 1920, station KDKA in Pittsburgh made the nation's first commercial radio broadcast. It was on Election Day. Warren G. Harding had just become president. Of course, music became ingrained in American culture. And here in Music City, Middle Tennessee News reporter Zoe Haggard joins us with the history of the Grand Ole Opry.
It's an American icon, the heart of country music, and the soul of Music City broadcasting. It's the Grand Ole Opry, and it began as a simple radio broadcast right here back in 1925. Today, it's a national phenomenon. Xavier Maston and I sat down with head Opry archivist and WSM broadcast engineer to discuss the history and impact of the Opry.
What do you think of when you hear the Grand Ole Opry? Probably think of all the famous stars like Minnie Pearl, DeFord Bailey, Johnny and June Cash. But what many don't think of is how broadcasting as we know it today in Nashville began with WSM back in 1925. And head Opry archivist Jen Larson says history wouldn't have been the same without it.
I'm realizing how integral the radio station actually is to the story of the Grand Ole Opry and the development of country music, not only in Nashville, but also a national and now, certainly international platform for that genre of music has been coming out of Nashville since 1925 on WSM.
Still ahead on this Middle Tennessee News special, 100 years of broadcast. Radio gets new competition from Wires and Lights in a Box, and a Nashville TV icon shares his story when we come back.
Hi, I'm Xavier Maston. Thanks for watching this special edition of Middle Tennessee News as we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast by honoring broadcasters in Tennessee. Check our website for more special content. You can find it at middletennesseenews.net under the Specials tab.
If you've got the money, I've got the time. We'll go honky-tonkin' and we'll have a time.
Welcome back, I'm Kristen Allen. Tennessee has produced a number of legends in the last 100 years, one of those being Chris Clark. Clark was an anchor here in Nashville for over 40 years, making him one of the longest-serving television personalities in state history. We sat down with him virtually to talk about the news, where it is, where it's been, and where it's going.
I got in the TV news business in 1961, and it was very easy to find a job back then.
If you fail to see the big news, you may miss something important.
Chris Bot-Saris began his 40-year career in black and white at a station in Albany, Georgia. He changed his name to get on TV.
Back in those days, in the 60s, you couldn't be on television news if you were female, if you were of color, or if you had sort of a funny-sounding last name.
Covering stories as small as fender benders and as big as the civil rights movement.
Mississippi cases will be followed up by the federal government.
We didn't discuss the Mississippi cases.
I hit that TV station just as Dr. Martin Luther King was coming to Albany to integrate Albany, Georgia. So I got to meet him,